Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT News, and the playoffs in the North American side begin later on today. So massive set of matches coming up very soon indeed. 100 Thieves also play later today, and Dephh might have revealed, or his team might have leaked, a potential composition change going into these stages. Not sure what he's suggesting might actually come to pass, but possibly 100 Thieves have something in the pipeline to surprise their opponents this weekend. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Videos to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to dive into today. First of all, just wanted to mention this real quick. The new name that's coming out, the Pearl map that is coming. For some reason, the last couple of days, I thought that it was going to get revealed on Friday. Turns out, I believe it's today, June the 16th, beginning at 11 AM Pacific time. They will receive, all VCT pros receive early access to the new map. So they can play it, stream it, I believe, this type of stuff. They have some sort of instructions to follow effectively so they can, Valorant influencer events, so we can see what the map is looking like today. So kind of coincides with the start of the playoffs, with them effectively revealing what this new map is going to look like. So very interesting. We haven't really heard anything about any map design choices or whatever, apart from effectively what it's going to look like. So outside of that, we'll see what these pros come up with today. But yeah, they're going to be streaming it. Trent actually from the guards says right here he'll be live tomorrow, which I believe, of course, being today, 12 Pacific time, to make sure come and watch me test the new map effectively. So lots of pros, influencers, and stuff will be kind of running around the new map, seeing what it's like. Hopefully it's pretty good, because certainly there's some maps right now in the pool that some people aren't particularly happy with, right? I mean, like to Bind isn't particularly well liked within the professional circuit. We'll see if they ever have kind of a map rotation thing going on, where some maps kind of go in and out of the pool, they make changes to them, kind of what we said in Counter-Strike, right? If they added a few more maps to the game, I think that's certainly a possibility as time progresses. But yeah, Pearl, hopefully it's pretty good. We're going to see it in action later on today. I'm sure there'll be a lot of talk about it in just a few hours' time. These also on the rostermania side, just wanted to mention, because Cloud9 White, the best female team in the North American side, they've been dominating things for quite some time. Annie has actually decided to step away. She said in a tweet longer that kind of the mental strain of competing was just getting a bit too much of, right? The amount of hours she was putting into streaming and also competing, watching VOD, all this type of stuff, it was taking its toll. So she decided to step away. It's actually Bob who comes in as replacement of Bobster. Not really familiar with this player, but apparently she's pretty good. So we'll see if this team continues their dominance. From what most people are saying, seems like they probably will. Now, to talk about the North American VCT, I thought this is kind of interesting actually, just to see how these teams performed compared to expectations, let's just say. This is the returns. If you put $100 down on each of their matches, this is what you'd have won. So if you put $100 on Sentinels for each of their 5 games, you'd have, of course, lost the $500. But some of these teams, the likes of OpTic, they went 4-1, but if you'd have put $100 on them to win, then you'd have only won a very fractional amount of money, because people expected them to win. So this kind of gives you a good idea of how far above expectations these teams were performing in general, except once again managing to come in 4th place. These guys, honestly, like, what is their obsession with 4th place finish? It's honestly kind of incredible. But yeah, Evil Geniuses, Ghost Gaming, certainly the 2 surprises of the stage, and these teams are kind of, surprises on the other end of things. The Guard, especially, like after their pretty poor performance, right, they failed to go through. NRG, despite actually qualifying in the ends, still would have lost you money at the end of the day. 100 Thieves would have won you a little bit, and they, of course, are going to play later on today in the first round of the playoffs, the Team Vietnam reunion, because they play up against FaZe. As Poi says right here, playing 100 Thieves tomorrow up against, Derek and the guys on the 100 Thieves side as well. So excited for this game. Massive game indeed for how this tournament is going to play out. Very difficult to call actually how these playoffs are going to go, because, I mean, look, the likes of the Guard aren't even there. Who knows if OpTic are going to be able to win again? Like, OpTic, of course, want to win. If they do win, they go through to Masters. Only the top 2 teams at this tournament go through to the Masters event. So OpTic are certainly going to want to win this one, or at least come top 2 as they did last time, to guarantee their passage to Masters, to try and go back to back, because I'm sure OpTic are thinking on their minds, okay, we won Masters 1. If we can win Masters 2 in the World Championship, that would be incredible. It's unlikely, right? But, who knows? It's still on the cards at the present time. Now, Dephh tweets this out yesterday, like at Knife Talk. This honestly is a completely disgusting clip. I'll put it on the big screen actually for you guys here, over, on Bind of all maps as well. But here he goes. He's just jumping out with the Jet. Now, of course, generally, Derek, not particularly a Jet player, right? He's usually using the Sova, kind of that's what he's been known for, especially on this team so far. Now, in this particular game, he's actually using the Jet to pretty good effect. Of course, having a good time with it. I mean, look at these shots. Absolutely fantastic right here. So, some questions have been raised. Is it possible that, some sort of composition changes come out through the 100 Thieves camp? Do they try something different? You'd imagine, like, given a team like 100 Thieves, and the fact that they've got DDK, they've got Sean Gers, they've got a good coaching staff behind them, they've been looking good, they've been getting better and better, I think, the last few weeks as well. They've had some up and down, some mixed results, but that's kind of what you expect from a relatively young, new, relatively inexperienced team. Whether they can perform at this kind of levels that they need to at the playoffs, but we saw from the Guard, for example, back in stage 1, where they were, similar boat, really very young, inexperienced team. They did very well. They won the playoffs online. They went to LAN, though, a different story. Since then, things have kind of fallen off. But I think really, given the kind of staffing behind this team, I would not be surprised if they have something in the pipeline here, right? So we've kind of seen previously, the likes of OpTic and Masters, when they brought Neon into the meta, and the success they were having with her, and now babybay's using her to great effect as well on the FaZe side, pretty much every single series they play. It's like, there's a few teams that are trying something new that seems to be working out rather well for them. And I wonder if 100 Thieves have anything kind of, in the pipeline here that they might try and surprise people with in the playoffs. Now, Leaf says waiting for the Reyna pick, and been saving it for the playoffs, right? So I'm sure Derek's joking around here to a degree, but he also mentions Phoenix in a second, and we saw Sabrosa was kind of using Phoenix in that pointless match that they played. But I mean, look, still, we see Reyna used occasionally in other regions. North American tends to kind of stick to their guns on what they like to use. Chamber, of course, being the dominant agent, as we looked at yesterday. But yeah, Derek reckons they've been saving some ideas potentially for the playoffs, and even as Will says, you can play Jet, I want to play Phoenix anyways. Why are you leaking our playoff composition, right? So, would well imagine that it's going to still be Will kind of on the Jet in situations. Derek's going to be on the Sova or whatever they're deciding to use, because of course Sova got that bit of a nerf, not always used nowadays, but potentially they've got some ideas that, in the works, right? I wouldn't be surprised, because teams that are well prepared, the likes of most certainly, 100 Thieves I think goes into that category. They've probably got some things that they've been cooking up the last few weeks to actually try and use, right? We've seen the likes of Paper X, other teams as well, try some very interesting compositions indeed, and of course they know they're going to play FaZe. They've known for quite some time they're going to play FaZe. They might be thinking, okay, how do we counter Neon? How do we counter these agents? Like, are we going to try Fade? Because that's kind of what I'm wondering next, right, is whether FaZe can really take a stand on the meta here, and potentially teams like 100 Thieves could use it to good effect. Because you think the way that Chamber was initially introduced, people used him a bit, but didn't really use him that much until they found out he was actually pretty damn good. The same potentially for Neon, the same maybe for Fade at some point. I've kind of been expecting a team that's going to use Fade to great effect might well be the team that kind of takes teams by surprise and makes a serious run here, either at the playoffs or the Masters or whatever here in stage 2. We'll see if 100 Thieves have anything lined up on that front. Definitely treat you a spec on it in the comment section below. This, of course, week 1 of the North American Challenger playoffs begins later on today. The other regions begin over the coming days. We'll look at their playoffs here in just a couple of seconds. But yes, 100 Thieves versus FaZe tonight. That's an absolutely massive game, of course. If you win, you go through. You play a more difficult team. Arguably, if you lose, you go down to losers, and things that don't get much easier from there. Right? We'll see the teams and losers here in a second. But yes, the winner of this game, massively important. Of course, reuniting some of the Rise guys as well. Derek on 100 Thieves, and some of the Supermen and the like over at the FaZe side as well, formerly of the Rise Nation side. Now, these are the predictions, just to mention real quick here from the Plat Chat guys, on who's going to qualify through the playoffs, through to the Masters event. Of course, 2 teams will do so. This, I guess, being the prediction for the number 1 team, which, of course, theoretically will be OpTic, but I mean, Wyatt's managed to get around the OpTic curse, it seems, so they should be making it through safe and sound on this evidence. But yeah, it seems like potentially 100 Thieves. I honestly do believe 100 Thieves can make a serious run here. We'll see how it goes today, but I think their team is in a good position now, relatively well prepared. They've had a few weeks to get things ready to go. They've got the support staff behind them. I think 100 Thieves are going to make a run here. But yeah, Ghost, Xset, certainly in discussion. Ghost, honestly, might be the guard of stage 1, as in, I mean, they won the entire thing last time, the guard. And maybe Ghost can do a similar thing, because maybe on LAN it's a different story, but a lot of people expect Ghost to make some serious damage here. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happens either. But let's talk through the other regions as well. I've kind of been promising you guys I'll mention the other regions and how they're getting on with their playoffs and which of their teams are going to qualify. Just to mention these, and Will might right, he does the top 10 rated players from the EMEA group stage. We've got Turko and Al. I'm just going to call them out from now on. Yeah, they've just been dominating everything. Look at these numbers compared to the rest of the guys in this league right here. Leo from the guild, Nats, of course, from M3C. They just about qualify. Sagetsu as well from FPX has been killing it as well. So really tough to say who's going to win their playoffs. Fnatic right now are clearly the favourites, but you've still got teams like FPX in their group. You've got other squads as well. G2, of course, didn't qualify, to some rumours as to what they were going to do with their roster, but Guild are looking good as well on the Group B side, so definitely pretty tough to call. I would like to see Fnatic, though, really hit another gear, dominate their playoffs, and then come to the Masters as, trying to look to take down OpTic effectively, because if we get an OpTic versus Fnatic Masters final, theoretically, in Copenhagen, that'll be an absolutely class affair, I am sure of it, if, of course, the teams keep up the level they're currently performing at. This, of course, is Brazil, though, because we could most certainly get Loud to go back-to-back in grand finals or something. The dominance they have over their region is remarkable. Look, Wazera here is kind of the 4th highest rated player here in the region on Vivo Keed, but look at the fact that the 5 Loud players, Aspas, Sardak, Les, Pancada and Sacia, all of the top 10 of players in the stage is just so ridiculous. They've been dominating it, they're probably going to dominate the playoffs as well, and these are the playoffs situations. So this is over in Japan. The winner of this, of course, is coming up in a few days' time. It's actually going to be on June the 25th, 26th, where all this stuff is determined. But yeah, the winner of this, he might well be Zeta Division, will go to Masters again. So this is how the Japanese playoffs are playing out. This also is in the Asia Pacific side. Rather interesting format they have here. So they have some GSL style groups, which are currently ongoing. And then the teams that get out of these groups over this weekend then go next weekend into a playoffs bracket to determine who gets through and who gets kind of the seeds from that region. This is the Latin American side. We've got Fusion, Leviathan Crew, to Laser. They're going to start playing here in effectively a week's time from today, so not all the playoffs are all aligned with each other. This is Brazil. They begin also in a couple of days' time. Again, loud, heavy favourites here for this region to make it through to the kind of one spot that they will get from this last chance qualifier, or from this qualifier from the playoffs, but also the loser of the grand finals goes down to the kind of last chance qualifier with the Latin American team to determine one more spot, as we saw last time around, if I'm imagining things are the same as they were before. This is Korea. Most leagues kind of doing this kind of similar thing to what EMEA is doing, where you've got 6 teams, 2 teams get a bye, the number 1 seed from both groups. I imagine DRX, of course, will probably be favourites to get the job done here once again. This is North America. We'll look at Europe actually first, just because it has the same format, right? European side. We've got Ascend versus M3 champions. These games begin tomorrow. Fnatic probably favourites to win the entire thing, but the top 3 teams here, so the 3 teams, well, the 2 teams in the grand final and whoever makes the losers final and comes top 3 will all qualify for Masters anyway. And then this is the North American side. So this begins today. So we've got FaZe versus 100 Thieves, and we've got Ghost versus Evil Geniuses. Tough to call these couple of series. I think I'm going to say Ghost over EG, but it's marginal. Like, EG looked really good this stage, but I feel like I feel like Ghost, honestly, the way they're playing right now, is a slightly better team. So I'm going to take Ghost. Tough to call though, to play OpTic in the second round in a couple of days' time. Then FaZe 100 Thieves. I think I'm going to just about favour Thieves. I feel like FaZe are a good team, very solid, but I feel like, as I've said earlier on in the video, 100 Thieves might have something prepared for this one. I'm not sure if FaZe will be quite as well prepared, and they generally do have to rely on Dicey and babybay to take over series, which I'm not sure is going to happen every single time. So balance of probability, I'm going to take 100 Thieves over FaZe as well. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. Told you YouTube gods, this is a good video. I'd also like you should see it as well. And I hope you enjoy the competitive Valorant community thing. Which, as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.